Hello everyone. In this video we are going to do neuronal connections of reticular formation, and we'll understand the complete neuronal connection of reticular formation in 5 points. So let us start. Coming to the first point, when we consider the neuronal connections of reticular formation, there are many afferent and efferent connections. Afferent means the neurons which are coming to the reticular formation, and efferent means which are the neurons which are going from the reticular formation to various areas of the brain and the spinal cord. So there are many afferents and efferent connections with the reticular formations which form several pathways, and because of these pathways the reticular formation is able to perform its several functions. So coming to the second point, it is about the afferent impulses. Okay, so the afferents which are coming to the reticular formation. The reticular formation, as we have said it in the previous video, that it is made up of 3 columns: the one in the midline, the one in the medial column, and the one is the lateral column. Among these, the lateral column of the reticular formation is an important reception area for incoming sensory and other afferent inputs. That means the lateral column of the reticular formation is the one which receives the sensation and other afferent inputs from various parts of our nervous system. So it can be divided into 2 different parts. That is the one sensations which are coming from the spinal cord and other equivalents of the spinal cord like the cranial nerves. So this is basically the sensation, the input which is basically of sensory type. The other input which we will see in the third point will be of motor type or the command type, which is coming from other areas of the brain to the reticular formation. So now looking and concentrating at the second point is the lateral column is the one which receives, and what all sensations the lateral column are receiving. So the first is it is receiving sensation from the spinothalamic tract. As we know, spinothalamic tract carries mainly the crude touch, temperature and pain sensation. This reticular formation receives input, collateral input from the spinothalamic tract, and which has a sensation of pain, temperature and crude touch. It also receives input from the spino-reticular tract. Then it receives input from ascending auditory pathway. So that is the auditory input from the ascending auditory pathway. Then comes input from the trigeminothalamic pathway, that is the sensation which is carried by trigeminal nerve. It is mainly the sensation from the face. So that is the input from trigeminothalamic pathway. Then input from tractus solitarius, that is basically coming from the nucleus tractus solitarius, which is the receiving area for the vagus, cranial nerve vagus, and that vagus is getting sensation from various internal organs of our body, and it receives input from the superior colliculus. Superior colliculus is involved in the visual aspect of our sensation, and thus the lateral column of the thalamus, as you can see here, is receiving a wide variety of inputs, that is the pain, temperature, touch and auditory inputs, the inputs from the face, the input from the visual sensation. These all sensations are very important and very useful in performing the one particular function of reticular formation. What is that function? Is maintenance of wakefulness. So that is how these all inputs, these all afferents are helpful for the reticular formation to perform that function. Here in this diagram you can see the same. So this is the lateral column part of the reticular formation, and you can see that the spinothalamic and spinoreticular tract are coming and synapsing, which are giving the sensation of crude touch, proprioception, pain and temperature to the raphe nucleus. Collaterals are supplying, because the main purpose of these tracts are to go to the thalamus, and the collaterals are the one which are arising, the branches which are arising and supplying to the lateral column of the reticular formation. Apart from the lateral column, apart from the spinothalamic tract, there are inputs to the lateral column from the nucleus solitarius, nucleus tractus solitarius, and cranial nerves, especially trigeminal nerve and cerebellum and vestibular nuclei and auditory pathway and superior colliculus also, which are the one responsible for various sensation coming to the reticular formation. Coming to the third point is afferent to reticular formation from other parts of the brain. So the reticular formation receives descending inputs from other parts like cerebral cortex, cerebellum and periaqueductal gray matter. These inputs are usually assigned to a motor function or to an integration of various sensations. When we consider about the cerebral cortex, it is more of a descending motor control and controlling the output of the motor output of the reticular formation. Similarly, the cerebellum, especially the fastigial nucleus of the cerebellum, supplies afferent to the reticular formation and thus influence the control of reticular formation over the muscle tone by influencing the alpha and the gamma motor neurons. And the periaqueductal gray, the afferent from the periaqueductal gray is responsible for integration of pain, that is nociception, with the limbic system, considered it as an emotional response, and the autonomic system considered as a autonomic response to the pain. So the afferent from the periaqueductal gray matter to the reticular formation is responsible for integration of pain sensation to the autonomic and the limbic responses. In this diagram, you can see that the periaqueductal gray is associated with various other areas like hypothalamus, cortex, and it is sending its input to the raphe nucleus and the medial column of the reticular formation. And this is the place where the integration of pain sensation with the limbic system and with the autonomic system takes place in the reticular formation. Other inputs from the higher centers are from the cortex. As you can see here, cortex is sending input to almost all three columns of the reticular formation, and another input is from cerebellum, which is sending its input especially to the lateral column. So this is how the afferent impulses of the reticular formation is present. And one important aspect about the afferent impulse is the one which is coming to the lateral column. The impulses which is coming to the lateral column is then relayed to the medial column and to the raphe nucleus. So there is, these lateral column are made up of parvocellular neurons and they are small neurons, and these then relay the sensation to the medial column and to the raphe nucleus. So that is the important aspect of lateral column. Coming to the fourth point, that is the efferent, that means the outflow from the reticular formation. So when we talk about the outflow from the reticular formation, the raphe nucleus and the medial column are the principal source for efferent projections from the reticular formation. So there occurs the descending reticulospinal fibers, okay, so which includes the descending fibers from two areas of reticular formation. The one is medullary region and the another is located rostrally in the midbrain. What is the effect of these two different regions? First thing, the descending reticulospinal fibers are the one which are responsible for maintenance of posture and the muscle tone. It is functioning with the vestibulospinal tract also. So when we consider the reticulospinal fibers, they are arising from two different regions. The medullary region is inhibiting the stretch reflex. The medullary region is the one which is inhibiting the stretch reflex, whereas the rostral region in the midbrain facilitates the stretch reflex, thus increasing the muscle tone. So the medullary region inhibits the stretch reflex, decreasing the muscle tone, and rostral region facilitating the stretch reflex and increasing the muscle tone. Another function efferent which is arising from reticular formation is to the respiratory and cardiovascular system. So it is also involved in the regulation of respiratory and cardiovascular system. as we know that the reticular formation is made up of various nucleus, and the regulatory nucleus of respiratory or the respiratory centers and the cardiovascular centers are located in the reticular formation, and thus the regulation of the respiratory and cardiovascular system is also a function of reticular formation, various nucleus of reticular formation. We can see here the main output is coming from the Raphane nucleus and the medial column, and when we consider the output to the descending, which we have discussed in this fourth point, is the descending reticulospinal tracts which are coming and supplying to the medial motor system, medial motor neurons, which are responsible for proximal group of muscles, and apart from that it is also responsible for autonomic outflow to the sympathetic and parasympathetic system, and it is responsible for the control of respiratory and cardiovascular functions also. In the fifth and the last point, we are going to look at the efferents of the reticular formation to other parts of the brain. Among this, the reticular formation sends important efferent to the cerebral cortex. This is an indirect kind of efferent to the cerebral cortex, which is coming through intralaminar thalamic nuclei, which projects into the cerebral cortex. So, in the previous video we have seen the ascending reticular activating system. In that, what happens is there is the projections from the reticular formation to the intralaminar thalamic nuclei, which is a non-specific thalamic nuclei, and then from there it goes to the cerebral cortex, and thus it is responsible for maintenance of alertness, wakefulness in the individual with the help of ascending reticular activating system. So this is the ascending efferent from the reticular formation to the cerebral cortex. Now coming to the direct projections to the cerebral cortex, there are direct projections not involving the thalamic nuclei, which includes the projection serotonergic projections from Raphane nucleus and norepinephric projections from the locus coeruleus to the cerebral cortex, and thus these are also involved in sleep-wake cycle. There are projections from the reticular formation to the cerebellum also. These projections to the cerebellum are coming from the connections of reticular formations with the superior colliculus, which is the visual input, and from superior colliculus it comes to reticular formation, and then from reticular formation it goes to the cerebellum, and other auditory inputs and the equilibrium inputs which are coming from the vestibular nuclei goes to the reticular formation, and from reticular formation to the cerebellum, and apart from that from the spinal cord, the spino-reticular and the spinothalamic tract which were coming from the spinal cord are then relayed to the cerebellum from the reticular formation. So these are the efferent or the output of reticular formation to various areas of the brain like the cerebral cortex and the cerebellum, and thus helping the reticular formation to function, to perform its various functions.